Hello and welcome to our millions of viewers here in Nigeria, the continent, and all around the world. This is Newsroom series where we bring you stories from across Nigeria. Our focus today is the southeast region. But let's bring you up to speed with some of our big stories this hour. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by the acting national chairman Abdurrahman Mohammed, has elected Mr. Mao Ohabunwa as the chairman of its new board of trustees for the party. Mr. Ohabunwa was elected today at a ceremony at the FCT minister's official residence in Abuja. At the event, Mr. Issa Dansidi emerged as the secretary of the board. Mr. Mohammed says the move aims to restore the party's core values and regain public trust. He explains that it's not just to inaugurate a board, but to reaffirm the ideals that built the party: justice, fairness, inclusivity, and respect for the rule of law. Also acknowledged that recent internal disputes had strayed the party from its founding principles. The national chairman, Mr. Mohammed, also disclosed that the previous board, led by Senator Adolphus Wabara, had lost its moral compass, that Chief Wabara's suspension by the Abia PDP chapter, though difficult, was necessary. All right, away from party politics now. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed judgments for November 20 in the terrorism trial of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Kanu. Justice Omotosho chose the date on Friday, that's today, while ruling after Kanu failed to open his defense, having exhausted the 6 days allocated to him by the court to conduct his defense. And the judge says Kanu, having failed to utilize the opportunity granted him to conduct his defense, cannot claim to have been denied the constitutionally guaranteed rights to fair hearing. Well, that's our lead story this hour. We'll bring you up to speed with more developments as we get them right here from the country and all around the world. Well, let's talk the southeast region now. The November 8 governorship elections in Anambra State is an off-cycle election, is one that is receiving massive attention from various agencies, stakeholders, especially the umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the police. In various events, assurances keep pouring in of every preparation to ensure a free, fair, and transparent, as well as credible elections in terms of personnel, logistics, and deployment.
A day to the governorship election in Anambra State, preparations are in top gear towards achieving a hitch-free exercise.
Professor Joash Ojo Amopiton, SAN.
It's the first assignment for the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amopiton, who has at different meetings reiterated the commission's readiness to conduct a credible exercise.
Let me reassure you that INEC is fully prepared for this election and have deployed Biomedical Voters Accreditation System, BVAS, for voters' authentication and upload of result to INEC Result Viewing Portal, IREF. We have accredited those that have the role to play during the election, and we are providing sufficient and adequate technical support to handle any eventuality.
Professor Amopiton has been giving updates on the voter register, personnel deployments, logistics involved in the distribution of sensitive materials, and all other arrangements put in place by the Commission for a smooth run.
I want to inform you that one of the values we are adding is to bring additional 10 resident electoral commissioners to join the Anambra State REC to ensure that election is well conducted in this state. This is the first time it is happening anywhere.
And from the police comes a pledge to ensure adequate security before, during, and after the election.
The Nigerian police force has activated a zero tolerance enforcement protocol to ensure total compliance with the Electoral Act and related laws. Our professionalism will be matched by decisiveness, our restraint by precision. Electoral offenses will be treated as criminal violations of national security, not mere political misconduct.
Addressing officers and personnel at the police headquarters in Awka on behalf of the Inspector General of Police, Deputy Inspector General Benjamin Okulu cautions his men to be committed to their duties as they are responsible for their actions during the polls.
Officers are under strict instruction to effect immediate arrest based on prima facie evidence and to ensure diligent prosecution through the electoral offences tests already activated across the state. The objective is simple: to deter misconduct through swift and exemplary enforcement.
114 observer groups, 76 media organizations, and over 500 journalists have been accredited to provide comprehensive coverage of the election. About 50,000 police personnel have also been deployed to Anambra State to ensure every polling unit is fully manned.
Well, ahead of tomorrow's governorship elections in Anambra State, a civil society organization, TAF Africa, is appealing to all political actors, security agencies, and residents in Anambra State to uphold peace, tolerance, and non-violence in line with the peace accord signed by the candidates. At a pre-election press conference in Awka, TAF Africa emphasizes that violence and insecurity not only undermines the credibility of the electoral process, but also affects persons with disabilities, many of whom face additional mobility, sensory, and communication barriers during crisis. According to INEC, a total of 2.8 million voters registered to participate in the process in Anambra State, including 3,456 persons with disabilities. And that's why TAF Africa is expressing concerns over the absence of disaggregated data on permanent voter card collection among PWDs, stressing that such data is essential for effective planning and inclusive participation.
In 2025 Anambra State Governorship election, the 2025 Anambra State Governorship election presents a vital opportunity to assess how far Nigeria has progressed in guaranteeing equal electoral participation for citizens with disabilities. TAF Africa's observation mission aims to provide an evidence-based evaluation of INEC's compliance with the provisions of Section 54, 1 and 2 of the Electoral Act 2022, which mandates the use of assistive tools and inclusive measures for persons with disabilities. The exercise will guarantee valuable data to highlight existing gaps and successes in accessibility, assistive provisions, and voter experience for persons with disabilities. Beyond data collection, this monitoring effort emphasizes TAF's firm belief that inclusive elections are stronger, fairer, and more credible, because no democracy can truly thrive when over 30 million citizens with disabilities remain on the margins of political life. TAF Africa's observation methodology and deployment plan. Under our Persons with Disabilities Election Hub, PWD Election Hub, TAF Africa has deployed a team of 150 trained observers across 3 senatorial districts of Anambra State. The observers are strategically placed in polling units with the highest number of registered PWD voters. The deployment team consists of 134 stationary polling unit observers and 16 roving media observers.
Well, let's stay with the elections, with restriction of movement set to be enforced by midnight. We hear that many residents are racing to do last-minute shopping and other activities. My colleague and correspondent Eyitope Kuti joins us live now from Awka, the Anambra State capital. Well, Tope, you have been in the heat for quite some time now. Well done to you and your team. Great job you're doing there. But I imagine that you know, there's a lot of some sort of beehive of activities around you, and we see it behind where you are positioned. Give us a sense of activities just around where you are.
Good afternoon, Kelly. I'm under a scorching sun here at the Awka market, Awka main market here in Awka, the Anambra State capital. And like you said, let me give you a feel of what is happening right here. You know, knowing fully well that by 12 a.m., from 12 a.m. Saturday morning, there will be restriction of movement till 6 p.m. due to the governorship election. So as you can see, right down to my right-hand side here, a lot of people, traffic gridlock, people trying to do their last-minute shopping, you know, and because people are still going to some local governments across the state. We have 21 local governments in Anambra State, so people are still going far, so they need to do their last-minute shopping. And you could see down also, we have vehicles all parked. People are doing buying and selling down here at Awka market, the biggest market, the largest market here in Awka, the Anambra State capital. And we've been speaking to a lot of residents here, and I can tell you they are eager and they are willing to exercise their civic responsibility in tomorrow's governorship election. And but they also raised some concerns, and their concerns are the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) should remain the umpire they are. They should ensure that the election is free, fair, and credible. And on the side of security operatives, they are telling the security operatives to ensure that there's no breakdown of law and order, to keep voters safe at the polling units. And they also raised concerns of vote buying, that the police, the security agencies should be careful and should look out for vote buying at the various polling units for tomorrow's governorship election. So for now, that's what we've been tracking for you.
Well, you talk where we understand, of course, security agencies have to enforce the restriction of movements by midnight, just like you have captured in your reportage. I'm just wondering, perhaps from what you can see and hear on ground, how they intend to enforce that restriction of movement. How exactly is that working out?
Okay, you know, before now, the police had already told us that they are deploying about 50,000 personnel for this election, combined, including that of the NSCDC Civil Defense. They're also deploying like 10,000 personnel for this election. So altogether, we have over 60,000 personnel, security personnel for this election. So they're going to ensure that the entrance and exit route to the states from all the neighboring states is being cordon, so no visitor comes in, because Awka people travel through Awka to other neighboring states. But for tomorrow, there'll be restriction. And for people also going to the riverine areas, they've also told them that by 12 midnight, before 12 midnight, all the people should ensure that they get to their respective polling units before then, because by 12 there will be no movement till 6 p.m. tomorrow. And also because of that, you know, INEC already told us that they've deployed all the three sensitive materials, the beavers machine, the Form EC8A and the Form EC8, to all the registration area centers to prevent any logistic challenge for Saturday's governorship election here in Anambra State.
Perhaps just one final question before I let you go. I mean, Awka, Anambra State is known to be a commercial city. It's always a beehive of activities there. I'm just wondering if residents are happy to shut down their businesses to go exercise their franchise tomorrow.
Well, like I told you earlier, I've been speaking to some residents, and I can tell you they are eager, they are willing to exercise their civic responsibility tomorrow. Most of them said they've gotten their PVCs. And one thing I will tell you for the interest is, in 2021, INEC says the registered voters is about 2.6 million, but for this election, we have about 2.8 million registered voters. So that shows interest, that shows willingness. However, this will tell at the polling units on that day to know the number of accredited voters at the different polling units. But I can tell you, the people are willing, they are eager to participate in the Saturday's governorship election here in Anambra State.
Well, you are, and other colleagues, eyes and ears on ground right there, covering the 21 local governments in Anambra State, and we'll bring our viewers all of the live updates, analyses, and commentaries tomorrow on our special live coverage of the November 8th governorship elections in Anambra State. But we must thank you indeed for bringing us up to speed. Senior correspondent Eyi Tokwe Kuti live for us in Awka, the Anambra State capital. Again, great job, and please stay safe. Well, let's stay with the elections in Anambra State, where in less than 24 hours, voters in that state will head to the polls to vote in their next governor, to who will pilot the state's affairs for another 4 years. INEC has approved a final register for tomorrow's exercise, while 16 candidates from 16 parties have been cleared for the contest. So the coordinator, Nigeria Women Trust Fund, Vanessa Gregory, has been speaking of the measure of female participation in Saturday's exercise. She highlights the 2 female candidates and 7 deputy governorship candidates as significant, but she frowns on the lack of inclusion in the participation process.
When we talk about deliberate efforts, we have seen debates hosting these 2 female candidates. We should also mention that there are also 6 deputy female candidates in this race. So when it comes to deliberate, I think we have a longer way to go. A lot of people aren't aware that there are 2 female candidates in the running, but we can't attribute that solely on the part of the media. Although they haven't specifically gone out to speak to the female candidates haven't also been forthcoming or seeking this coverage. So it's a two-way street, So we know that the lessons learned from this is that we need to give adequate gender balanced coverage to both male and female candidates. And we also appeal and urge the female candidates to seek this media coverage so that their mandates are covered and people are aware that there are females in any election.
Let's bring more updates for you now. It's a coalition of civil society organizations have thrown a challenge to INEC to conduct credible polls in order to improve confidence in the electoral process. Speaking during a briefing in Awka, the state capital, under the aegis of the Situation Room, the South Coordinator Achike Chudi notes that this will be the first major test for Professor Joash Amukwito, SAN, since his appointment as the INEC chairman. He's charging the commission to do a good job so as to improve confidence in the process. He further reveals that the Situation Room will be deploying observers to monitor and report back in real time.
This election heralds the first major assignment of the new national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amukwito, who was appointed a few weeks ago as the top helmsman of the election management body in the country. Situation Room acknowledges the assurance given by the Independent National Electoral Commission that it is fully prepared for the election, assuring that there will be no inadequacy with logistics and deployment. And note the assurance of the police as the lead agency on election security, that security personnel deployed for the elections are properly trained to conduct themselves professionally and within the civil rules of engagement. Given the state's strategic importance and high stakes politically, credible conduct of this poll will reinforce public trust in the democratic process in the Southeast and contribute to national momentum for deepening democracy in Nigeria. Situation Room has deployed accredited observers who have been trained specifically for this election and would also be receiving reports from its partner organizations and networks, as well as citizen observers from across the local government areas of the state through its election reporting app deployed for the election. For this election, Situation Room partners will be observing across different thematic areas, such as ballot integrity, campaign finance, security, misinformation and disinformation, mandate protection and inclusion. Their observation and reports will also feed into our own report of the election.
Well, we're not done with the elections just yet. Let's bring you up to speed more now as Channels TV crew visited some motor parks to feel the pulse of the people, especially with concerns raised by the INEC chairman on voter apathy. You know, some of the transporters say the previous days had massive traffic as people took trips to their villages to participate in the process. They insisted that voter apathy is highly unlikely as many people are desirous to be parts of the exercise. But there are those who seem indifferent about this particular election.
If you look at the park now, as of this morning, it's really not busy. One, probably due to the public holiday, and two, due to the fact that the business that we expected today was yesterday, basically. When you go to the markets and the parks, many people are traveling to their polling units. That is, if their polling units are not in town. So I believe that's one of the reasons.
I mean, Anambra has the love of democracy to come and see how the election tomorrow will go, whether we're there or are we behind, because we love democracy and we believe in human participation so that we will get it better as tomorrow comes. So we leave good legacy. That's why we are here to monitor the election, to encourage people to come out and participate and do their bid, their choice vote. And we also will want their vote to count.
Everything has concluded. You know, as of the week, I'm sitting at Zik7 Oka here. I saw a lot of things, you know, day before yesterday, people are, you know, gingering, you know, to that tomorrow election, they will go and do it. And people are conversing about it too. You know, that's what I saw. You know, but today, what I'm seeing here, maybe people still go home to vote.
Away from the elections, let's cross over to Abia State, where Governor Alex Otti has commissioned a newly constructed ultra-modern court complex at Umuene in Isialangwa South local government area, being one of the 17 modern judicial facilities built by his administration across the state. Speaking at the ceremony, the governor said the commissioning represents the fulfillment of his campaign promise and underscores his administration's commitments to justice reform and institutional strengthening within the state's judiciary.
To welcome the honor.
Residents of Umuene in Isialangwa South local government area of Abia State welcome Governor Alex Otti and other dignitaries for the commissioning of a newly constructed state-of-the-art judiciary complex. Accompanied by the Chief Judge of Anambra State, Justice Lillian Abia, and other top government officials, performing the official tape cutting, the Chief Judge of Abia State commends the governor for his commitments to improving the judicial system, noting that the new facility will significantly enhance justice delivery and expedite court processes across the state.
This court complex, the first of its kind in Abia State, comes equipped with modern technology including being powered by solar energy. It is expected to speed up the judicial process, bring justice closer to the people, and reduce the backlog of cases.
In his remarks, Governor Oti highlights the importance of the newly constructed ultra-modern court complex, saying there can be no real development without unfettered access to justice for every member of society.
Today's event is significant for a number of reasons. First, it marks the fulfillment of our campaign promise to work closely with the judiciary to improve a broad infrastructural outlay across our judicial establishments. We made this commitment because we understand how important the general architecture of the judiciary is to the preservation of social order, communal harmony, and the resolution of disputes. These structures will greatly improve the productivity of the judicial officers and build public confidence.
After the ceremony, the governor receives a delegation from the Ugandan government led by the High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Philip Odida, at his country home in Isialangwa South Local Government area. Their mission to Abia State is to explore avenues of economic cooperation, especially in the MSME sector, which forms the backbone of the state and country.
Our objective today is simple but ambitious: to lay the foundation for a sustainable and mutually beneficial economic bridge between Abia State and Uganda. We look forward to establishing a follow-up mechanisms to business engagements, trade missions, and cooperative frameworks that convert this goodwill into tangible results.
The meeting, according to Governor T, presents an opportunity to deepen economic and trade collaboration between Abia State and Uganda. Well, that report there from Abia State does it for us on this edition of Newsroom Series. Thanks indeed for watching. On behalf of the production team and everyone here, I'm Kelly. Thank you. I'll see you again. Bye now.